time for movies on Rock and Gold Radio. It's Meet Me in the Foyer with Linda Marrick and Jawa.
Meet Me in the Foyer.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for choosing to meet me in the foyer again. And we're back from the outback, spinning tales of great adventure, heroism and sacrifice. And joining us is our fearless master and commander, bearing witness to our cinematic society. It is, of course, the incomparable Linda Marrick. How are you doing, Linda?
I'm fine, thank you. Getting a bit frustrated about the lack of new titles out in the cinema at the moment, because nobody wants to compete with the two big movies out at the moment. But yeah, other than that, I'm absolutely fine. It's just very frustrating that cinemas are just full of re-releases and, 4K re-releases and all sorts of anniversary stuff, apart from the two obvious things. But hey, I think this is the first summer in a very long time that this has happened.
Yes.
I have never really struggled to find stuff to review.
That's true, isn't it? Because even during Barbenheimer, there were other films coming out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everyone's run scared of Chris Nolan and the Marvel Master that's coming towards us this week, but we'll discuss that later. In fact, let's discuss it now. What are you reviewing for us this week, Linda?
I'll be reviewing the obvious, which is the new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Brand New Day. That is actually out already. It's out.
Yes.
The cinema's already. I have a feeling it might have come out last night at midnight. I got to see this on Tuesday morning, and then there was a big multimedia screening the same day in the evening, and then I think the premiere was last night at Leicester Square, and they were all there, and I'll you'll have to listen to my review to know what I thought of it. Really
look forward to it. Absolutely.
Unfortunately, that is all you're getting from me this week. That is the review you're getting from me this week, because there's a BFI film coming out this week called Ish, that we have already reviewed last week. So you can go back to last week's program to listen to that review. And if you're looking for something that isn't one of the two big movies of the year, if you've already seen those movies, go and watch Ish. It's a really lovely little drama.
Excellent recommendation for Ish, and in fact our old past show. So yes, you can find that on YouTube or Patreon, whichever takes your choice. And of course, I'll be bringing you a recommendation in the form of a classic movie. Plus, we've got the movie news and the box office top 10. So why don't we begin at the box office?
Meet Me in the Foyer.
So it's box office top 10 time as it stands as we record, and not a lot of movement actually in the top 10 this week, which is unsurprising given the sort of paucity of films, or dearth I should say, of films being released at the moment. So at number 10 it's Supergirl. It's been in the charts for 5 weeks and now looks like it's dropping out of the top 10, having made just under 6 million at the UK box office.
I'm kind of sad about that, because we're forever sort of asking for more female-centered characters and more sort of female stories out there. And then when we are offered these stories, they just are ignored by everyone, or are criticised for absolutely no reason. So I am a little bit sad that it's not done very well. I'm not saying it's a perfect movie. I really enjoyed it as a kind of coming of age, kind of like, the punk rock spirit kind of teenage movie. But at the same time, it's no worse or better than other stuff that's doing really well in cinema. So it's bizarre.
Yeah. It is a shame. So I looked forward to that very much, and hoped it would do better than that. But it is what it is, and there's more superhero news to come later in the show. Number 9, it's Disclosure Day. It's been out for 2 months. It's made just about 13 million at the UK box office, and you can hear Linda's review on our Patreon account.
I really loved it. You loved it. I think it's one of the best films of the year. Other people had different opinions, but we don't care. We don't care what other people think. We only care about what we think. And I thought it was really fabulous. And I'm not in a in the on the side of people who think this is one of the worst Spielberg movies. Absolutely not even close.
No.
It's probably his best ones in a very long time.
Absolutely agree. I look forward to watching it again. And as I said at the time, I think his best film since, was it 2001? Minority Report came out. So yeah, that's my review. So, for what it's worth.
I have loved other movies since. I really loved West Side Story. I really liked The Fabelmans, which remains probably one of my favorite movies of his. I liked Munich. So I am a big Spielberg fan, and I don't love all his movies equally, but I really did like those movies, and I like this one even more.
Absolutely, yeah. Although those aren't ones I love, I struggle to think of a Spielberg film I didn't like. So I don't understand the pile-on at all. Above that, it's more franchise fare in a way. It's Evil Dead Burn that's been out for 3 weeks now, and it's made 2.1 million at the UK box office.
I haven't seen it and still haven't seen it. I really ought to go. I'm being lazy. I could have reviewed that this week, really, couldn't I?
This is true.
But I have not gone to see it, and it's so when you're a film critic, when you're part of the press, it's a really difficult thing to find go back, and watch movies that aren't within the sort of week of release, contingent. So it is. I should have really paid and gone to see it, but I didn't. I apologise. But from what I'm hearing, I haven't missed much. But
well, it's all is forgiven, Linda. Don't worry. I completely understand. I wouldn't go and see it myself, but that's just me. A big old scaredy pants. And talking of things that scare me, at number 7, got to be movie of the year. In some ways, it's Obsession, that's been out for 11 weeks. It's made 19 million at the UK box office alone, and you can hear Linda's review on that Patreon account of ours.
Yeah, I think we've said everything we need to say about Obsession, and great movie. It's one of the best movies of the year. I have heard things. People get really excited about movies, and sort of you do hear best movie of the year very early on. But I think I have not seen the best movie of the year yet. It's definitely almost said Oppenheimer. The Odyssey is definitely in the running for me. But let's see.
Very interesting.
Another thing I was going to say, maybe I should say it later on during the news. I feel like because normally it's the second half of the year that's full of all the prestige movies, but I might as well say it now. Loads of the really big sort of prestigious international film festivals aren't getting any studio movies because studios are kind of not putting their movies within the festival realms because they want to get that sort of old-fashioned excitement out of it. I actually agree with it. I think it's really silly to just put all your movies either at Cannes or at Venice or at Toronto. And it became I think if you put your movie out at Toronto, everyone loves it, and then it comes out and everyone criticizes it. I think personally, it's better to let it be done more organically, or the way we've always done things, which is show it to the press maybe a few days before it's released, embargo it, and get that excitement going. If a movie is reviewed by 1 million critic, a couple of months before it even comes out, where is the excitement in that?
That's a very good point.
I leave those to the more independent movies. I think film festivals have always been better for small independent movies, small top art house movies that really need that kind of push in festivals. I feel like big studio movies don't really need that, and you're just for the sake of having a few people taking photos on a red carpet, it really isn't worth it. It's not worth it because you end up losing money on them. So, yeah.
That's an excellent point, isn't it? Yes, because as you say, the studios, big films, people will be anticipating anyway. And the festivals, certainly as I used to remember them, were you would hear a sort of a whisper spread amongst people as like, have you heard about this film? This, that no one else had heard of before the festival, and that you'll get a breakout film or two each year, which was great fun. But yeah, that has.
That's what Cannes used to be like. It was mostly the sort of the European art house stuff, or like the big sort of art house American director coming out with something that everyone loves, and suddenly he is in the running or she is in the running for best director of the year. But the whole I see the whole sort of like studios descending on either La Croisette or the Lido in Venice as being sort of a more, I'm not saying a more recent thing, but a more sort of like transparent thing, like, can we make this more into an organic thing rather than it being, let's just bring everyone who's on the cast list and make sure they get photographed, and it's it's not.
No, that's a really interesting point. I hadn't considered that at all. I've never been I've certainly never been to Cannes, and I've not paid a lot of attention to the festivals apart from when that you get those breakout films that you aren't a studio production and you hadn't had any whisper of until suddenly hot on the press. This latest film has just wowed the audiences out. Berlin, Cannes, Toronto, wherever. Yeah. No, I think it's a really good point. Distracted there. Back to the top 10. And number 6 is a film I know Linda loved and is doing pretty well for, I don't know if it counts as an independent film, but it's The Invite that's been out for a month and has made 3 million at the UK box office.
Loved it. Really fabulous movie. Just like, such a surprising sort of success story as well. And this is it. This is why we don't need film festivals. You need to just sneakily watch these movies like word to mouth from critics to each other. I just remember going to a screening for this, not really knowing what it was. I knew who it was directed by and who starred in it. I knew absolutely nothing about it. Didn't even know it was a remake. And then like sitting down and getting that reaction and being a tiny screening where people are just laughing their heads off, and it's such a brilliantly devised sort of movie, and it's just like it's only got like 4 people in it, 4 characters, and the way it's directed is just perfect. Olivia Wilde is just so impressive for me.
Yeah, I saw the trailer this week because I went to the cinema earlier this week, and on top of your review, was even more intrigued to go and see it. So yeah, I might actually pop back later this week, and because it's still on.
Don't get me wrong, it's one of those films where, as much as I love the direction, I love how it looks, I don't think you're going to be missing out on much if you did see it on TV. So it's not one that I'm going to say you must watch this in the cinema. It is better if you watch it in the cinema, obviously, but however, I do feel like it's intimate enough for you to just be able to like wait for it till it comes on streaming.
Fair enough. I've become slightly addicted to my local cinema, which is rather nice. Has excellent seats, and it's quite swanky. And their pick and mix selection is.
Is it an independent?
It's called The Light.
An independent.
I guess it must be. Yeah, it's very good. And they do a ticket for an extra £2. You can get a pizza. So that can't be bad. So.
And it's that. Which town is that? If you want to give them a shout out.
That's in Addlestone, actually, not too far from Woking. Very nice cinema. Highly recommend. So I might catch that. But this film, I don't know anything about, and I don't think it will be in my local, because at number 5 it's Jana Nayagan. First week on release, it's made just under £500,000, and that's an Indian Tamil language political action drama.
Not heard of it. Not screened to me. So nothing to say about it.
Number
Rather embarrassingly.
Not at all. Number 4, it's Minions and Monsters. It's been out for 5 weeks. It's made 12 million. And once again, you can catch Linda's review on our Patreon account.
Again, I don't know if you want me to say something about that. I think lovely movie. Oh, it's still in the top 10. It's doing, but I mean, how well is it doing? How much has it taken?
Over 12 million in the UK.
The UK.
Yeah, it's done really well actually this week because the schools have just broken up, of course.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
Something for the kids.
You know, I really love this. As I say, like I'm going to just repeat myself from if you haven't heard me in the other week's screening episodes where I've just said that it's a movie about Hollywood that really gets it right. It's really funny. It's very self-reflective, mocking, and it's really clever. It's got different levels, and again, it's made by Illuminations. And as it keep on saying, Illuminations is coming for Pixar's crown. They don't miss. They've been absolutely on the money every time for a while now, and I think that it is the the most exciting animation studio at the moment.
I think that's very fair. Although above that is an animation turned live, one of Disney's. At number 3, it's Moana, that's been out for 3 weeks and has made 8.5 million at the UK box office.
Yeah, I've not seen it. It's taking money, so I haven't seen it. I was on holiday when it came out, and don't feel like I've missed anything. I've seen Moana. Apparently, there's absolutely zero difference from the animation to the film. I'm not completely against them making these movies because kids go and see them, and they make them for a reason. So if they weren't making money, they wouldn't be making them.
Again, probably getting a little bit of a boost from the school holidays, which is probably true of our next film as well. Keeping Pixar just on top for now. At number 2, it's Toy Story 5. It's been out for 6 weeks and has made £49 million at the UK box office alone.
Not surprised in the slightest. Brilliant. It says a lot about this franchise that, it is sort of, despite Pixar's sort of bad run, it is, box office proof, this franchise. And, whether you like it or not, whether people agree with them, keep remaking them, and why ruin sort of a perfect trilogy? None of that really matters because people love these movies and they love those characters and they carry on watching them. And I really loved it. I thought it was so lovely.
Wonderful. And of course, you can catch Linda's full review on the Patreon account. All of which means at number 1, once again, for the second week in a row, it's Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which has been out, as I say, for 2 weeks and has made, in just 2 weeks, a fairly mind-blowing £35.3 million at the UK box office alone. And as we said last week, there's a special show we did, which you can find on our Patreon and our YouTube account.
Odysseus. Don't you remember? Thunder. Fire. Death.
I remember. A wife. A son. Home. Ithaca's a kingdom waiting for a king. My dad is coming home. You're pining for a daddy you didn't even know. Like some sniveling bastard.
Ithaca's king is coming back.
Bringing vengeance. Bringing it all. I could take the throne.
They're not giving up power to you or Odysseus. Do you think life goes back to the way it was? That world is gone. If he returned, he'd have to kill him, like you will.
You gods don't speak in ways we understand.
Who doesn't understand pain? Or blood? The gods told you.
Then I defy the gods.
It's doing really well. It's good, doing good numbers apparently at that show. So it's go and catch it. And if I could just give just one little shout out for a different podcast that I did, if you don't mind, we could. I have recorded a special. I don't know, a few years ago, last year and the year before, I was doing the show called Podyssey, which is taking stories from the Odyssey and discuss and then referencing films that where there are characters from the Odyssey, modern or like old. And we did quite a few episodes. I was mostly in the first season, and we did a special Odyssey podcast, and I can put a link to it. And it's a really fantastic podcast, and there's four of us. I think five of us. No, 4 women and 1 guy, and we all talk about. I mean, they are all classicists who are studied the Odyssey, so and studied all those stories, the Greek stories. But I do it from the point of view as well. I mean, I am somewhat of a classicist because I've read quite a bit about the Odyssey, but however. I'm more of the sort of film critic, layman within that particular show. So if you want to go and watch it, maybe we could put a link to it.
Absolutely, that sounds really interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And actually, that was the film I caught myself earlier this week at the cinema.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean it's long, but
yeah, it didn't feel long to me.
No, it didn't drag at all. To be fair,
No.
It was.
Are you going to tell us what you think of it now, or are you going to wait till later?
I'm happy to tell you now.
Tell me now.
I thought it was fine.
Fine? Oh,
yeah,
come on.
It's well made. As you say, it didn't drag. It felt like a lot of talking. Obviously, it's come from a literary source. It's a poem, but it's not really a criticism, more an observation that it felt that there was a lot of people telling you what was going to happen, and then explaining what was happening, and then describing what had happened. And although it very well made, very well acted, beautifully shot, lovely production values, my pulse only raised really in the last 20 minutes with the big sort of final payoff. And again, it's a Nolan film that I'm impressed by but not enamored by, and I don't know if I'll ever watch it again.
I'm gonna go see it again. I really loved it, but again, like, if you're not interested in those stories, for me it's like growing up with those stories, not just in the Odyssey, like, sort of these are stories that have been retold and modernized and stuff. Growing up with those kind of stories, I really wanted to see how he managed to get around doing certain things, and I was so impressed with his interpretation of those particular characters, and I don't think anyone else could have done it better, genuinely. I have absolutely no doubt that it is the best movie of the year. And again, like, I have seen one other movie of the year. I'm not allowed to say anything about it, like not one thing. So you, in fact, don't even put this in the show. One other movie that could be in with a chance, but I cannot say more.
Interesting, very interesting. Yeah, as I say, very, very, very well made, but there were no. I suppose there were two things, because the story's so old. There were few surprises in the story because so much of the story is being used by other storytellers.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel there were very many moments where I was sort of knocked back in my seat by the interpretation of it. It was just kind of as you would expect it to be told in a way. But as I say, all high quality, very high quality. I guess my only criticism really is exceedingly excessive bass. Like the rumbling at times was like being sat in the middle of a motorway with trucks going by. It was very bassy, but maybe I'm just getting old. But I say it's
you don't have to love it,
No, I mean it was a Tuesday afternoon and it was packed out, so obviously people are turning out to see it. Doing well.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, and in conclusion, that is the box office top 10 for this week.
Meet me in the foyer.
Right, so it's review time. It's a brand new day and a brand new review now as Linda swings back into business with her thoughts on Tom Holland's fourth full feature film in the law-enforcing lycra as the heroic American arachnid in Spider-Man Brand New Day, which I must admit, surprisingly to me at least, is the start of a new trilogy. So will Linda be slinging webs of praise or the slings and arrows of misfortune? Let's find out.
Hi, my name is Peter Parker. I have something to tell you that's gonna sound crazy. But it's the truth.
You're the Spider-Man.
Can't tell anybody about this. Gotta keep it a secret.
Okay.
Thank you.
Everybody good?
Yeah, Spider-Man!
We used to know each other. We were together. But something bad was gonna happen.
Me.
And the only way to stop it was to do the hard thing.
You're gonna forget who I am.
What?
What are you talking about?
I'm gonna come and find you, and I'll explain everything.
You're better. I love you. Just wait and tell me when you see me again.
My name is Peter Parker, and I would like a coffee.
Is there anything else?
Maybe I'll never read this to you.
No.
Maybe I'm just writing this for me. And maybe that's my responsibility, to live alone with the truth. Because I'm not just Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man.
We're faced with a threat that can be anyone.
You sure you want to do this, Scorpion?
You think I'm Scorpion?
Talk to Banner?
No, Banner. Only Hulk.
I'm sorry, but you're in danger. What? I promised you that I would keep you safe. Please, you just have to trust me. Come on.
Fine.
You're the only one who can sense it.
Hey, can we do this one at a time, please?
You're the only one who can defeat it.
The Spidey Tracker app says that Spider-Man is in the direct vicinity.
Oh yeah? No way, that's crazy.
Linda.
Are you a fan of the Spider-Man movies? Have you been a fan of these, the Tom Holland ones so far?
Yes, I think they're the best Spider-Man movies that have been made.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I probably don't, I don't disagree, but but I think they've all been really good. I think each era's had a really good Spider-Man, and their characters really well written, and that understand where he is placed in the MCU. So I think each one has got it really right. I really have loved Tom Holland in this. I just think he's there's a kid from Surrey who has this kind of taken on this huge character, this money-making sort of giant. I don't know if it's going to beat the Odyssey. Let's see. They might, I feel like genuinely, I think this is the best of the Tom Holland Spider-Mans so far.
Right.
I think it's a movie. It's a darker movie. Let's start with the obvious, which is let's start with sort of the tone and the storyline really. So this is directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, and it's the latest adventure where Peter, played by Tom Holland, obviously, is living his life, a life he chose for himself at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. He wished that his, you know, I don't think I'm giving anything away, you know, about the death of Aunt May, and he doesn't want to put his friends in danger, but so, you know, he chooses to be forgotten by everyone he loves, including MJ, played by Zendaya, and his best friend, and everyone else that he's been so close to over the last 3 movies. So he's living, you know, it's quite a dark, kind of like a darker sheen of Spider-Man. It's no longer the sort of you know, the first movie that, you know, the John Hughesy kind of first movie, you know, that kind of like a teenage movie, you know, like high school movies. It was a bit like high school movies. So he's dedicated himself entirely to protect New York City. It's a decision that has left him isolated, exhausted, and also quietly haunted by his past, quietly haunted by the people who are no longer in his life. They might not be longer in his life and they don't remember who he is, but he still watches over them. He still, you know, he knows where MJ is. She has completely forgotten him. He, you know, he sees his best friends go through university, graduate, do all the things that young people do without him, and he's basically being Spider-Man. But suddenly, sort of, he's completely foregone that awkward teenage charm. He's no longer the Spider-Man, the Peter that we know, you know, the Peter Parker that we know. He's like, you know, those sort of kind of like that charm defined who he was to start with. In its place, we find a young man who's carrying a crushing weight of responsibility with nobody left there to share it. So the absence of his friends takes on a different shape when MJ with MJ. Zendaya is basically in the movie. I don't really want to give too much away if you haven't seen the movie yet, but I feel like if you are like a hardcore fan, you would have seen it by now. So I think in the trailers, I haven't watched the trailers, but I believe in the trailers it makes you feel like MJ might remember him. Let's just say that it's all one-sided for a very long time through the movie, and he is there to watch her over her, but she still has absolutely no clue who he is. There's also a brand new villain. I'm not going to give that one away either, because I think it's best that you find out for yourself. I might actually, when we come back, I think you're away next week. When we come back, I might do a more in-depth kind of like talk about who the villain is and who she's played by. I mean, I you know, I think everyone knows that Sadie Sink from Strange Things is the villain of the piece. I ain't saying nothing. I'm not saying who. Same thing. So the film feels both sort of exhilarating as well as intimate. You know, like the visually it is as brilliant as it ever was. Actually, even better. It just feels like it's not just like a CGI backdrop. It feels like so much more has been done to keep this movie like you know, the story moving. It looks darker, it looks sharper. It's also not trying so desperately to sort of fall back into the multiverse stuff that MCU got really you know, had to involve everyone in, if you know what I mean. It's like, you know, just be the Spider-Man story. We can wait. We can wait for sort of Doctor Strange, and we can wait for other things for us to sort of talk about the MCU. There are some characters from the MCU here and there, mostly the Dr. Banner, the Hulk, played by Mark Ruffalo, who's absolutely brilliant here. Jon Bernthal is excellent. He plays Frank Castle, the Punisher. Really, absolutely scene stealing every time. Just I adore that actor anyway. Jacob Batalon, I don't know how you could say his name, who plays Ned, the third the third one in the group, the Peter Parker group, Peter Parker MJ group. Yeah, all in all, I just thought this is like so well done and so much darker, and it deals with themes of like seeing of a young man who is no longer in his teenage years, a young man who's got new responsibilities, and because of his new responsibilities, his body is changing. He's sort of powers. His powers are completely different. He finds that he is using. He's at one point the villain asks, "Who do you want to be, Peter Parker or Spider-Man?" And there is a sort of an answer. I mean, you could just guess what he says to her, which is, "I can be both." And I think that is the whole story of this new Spider-Man movie. It's knowing when to sort of when to use the stick and knowing when to use the carrot. It's knowing, having those two personalities at hand, where you are someone who's kept their morals intact all the while, and being able to go after all the villains who are sort of trying to destroy the city, or trying to take away the people he loves from his life. It's a very human story, despite it being a super hero movie. I just thought this was so lovely and so well done. And he's, Tom Holland, some people might criticize his delivery in The Odyssey. I felt like he wasn't given enough to work with in The Odyssey, but that's fine. It's not about him. He's a minor character in The Odyssey. I thought here he really, really knew what the job was, and he did it absolutely brilliantly. There isn't like a great deal of fan service, which I like. I mean, the last film had a ton of fan service, and it's fine. We all sort of cheered and whatnot, but I felt like this really did its own thing, and managed it really well. And if this is a sort of beginning, if you said, of the new trilogy, it can go from strength to strength. I personally want to see Tom Holland do other stuff, and having been in The Odyssey, seeing that he can deliver other stuff, that he can work with smaller roles and more complex roles and a more complex screenplays. I feel like he really ought to rethink what he wants to do with this character, whether it's time for him to leave it behind and go on and do his, as an Oscar nomination movie, or, not go completely the other side and try and sort of, ignore what made him who he is, but like do different things. And yeah, if this is his last movie, then again, as I say, a good decision. But I feel like it's not. But it's it's a really, really fabulous movie, and it's really well directed. Music's brilliant, acting is great, and Zendaya is absolutely brilliant in this.
Wonderful. Yes, I was say it. I mean, it's a film of surprises for me, because as I said at the start, I really love the Tom Holland Spider-Man films. They're kind of unusual in the fact that Spider-Man for a long time has been a sort of slightly standalone character in the MCU because of the whole Sony thing. He started with the original Sam Raimi films outside of Marvel on Sony, and they were great, although the third not so much. I didn't particularly enjoy the Andrew Garfield ones, but they weren't bad. They would certainly be my least favorite of all of the Spider-Man films made. And then these new ones, I was a bit like, do I care? But they just win you over with their sort of charm and their enthusiasm, and their really great storytelling and solid sort of over arcs and within picture arcs. And as I was surprised that they were making a fourth one, and even more surprised to read the news that this is the start of another trilogy. But don't worry about Tom. We'll come to him later, because he is doing other work, and I enjoyed him in The Odyssey as well.
but as you said, I mean, what I really loved about these movies is that I really understood who was the fan, who were fans of this particular character, because not all MCU characters are the same. People are really passionate about Spider-Man because he represents the youth of the MCU. You know, he's like the youngest, and he is the sort of I really loved what they did with trying to sort of take it back to like the John Hughes 80s movies and with the first one, and then like just making them into these kind of like really buddy movies, you know, this like a young, confused guy who's a bit weird and who's not very popular, who suddenly finds people who are a bit like him, who he takes his strength from. I really,
Yeah.
really love these movies. I think they're really well done.
Yeah, giving him a friend was an absolute masterstroke. You know, that he really lacked that in the previous five films. That were a really great idea. And as I say, even more surprises because it was the only trailer that ran before the Odyssey, I suppose, because it's the only thing coming out. That they gave so much away, really, because I really was kind of surprised that they put the Hulk in it, as they did with the last Captain America film, which that was a terrible mistake because the Hulk doesn't appear until the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, he's not the Hulk in it is not really a big giveaway, to be honest with you. There's like there are bigger surprises in the movie. So I understand why that was in the trailer. As I say, I haven't seen the trailer, but I know of what is in the trailer roughly. They haven't really given away, and I feel like you haven't heard what the big sort of spoiler.
No, sounds like I haven't.
It's going to
No,
be
yeah.
about that. So yeah,
Excellent. And I suppose it makes sense as well. Why would he give it up? But I was also slightly surprised to see Mark Ruffalo back after so long, because it's been donkeys since he was last in the film as the Hulk. But good to see him back because he's the best one
I love
they've
him.
had. So yeah, absolutely.
Good guy as well. You
Yeah.
know?
Wonderful. Well, I might be heading back to the cinema once again to enjoy their comfortable seats and excellent pick and mix selection. Thank you very much, Linda. And just to say as well, of course, our station master on Rock and Roll Radio saw the film last night, because you're quite right. This is Thursday as we record, so there were previews on Wednesday, and I know he went with his family to see it last night, and he also said it was the best of the Tom Holland Spider-Man films. So yeah. Great minds think alike. So fantastic. Right. Well, that's that could be the big hit of the summer. Who knows whether it'll topple the Odyssey in terms of box office revenue, but it doesn't really matter.
It won't, but it will do really well.
Yeah,
it will do really well. Yeah, because I think as much as we love it, I think there is still this kind of like superhero fatigue going on. I think this fatigue is very, it's still out there. People really adore Zendaya and Tom Holland, so we've got keep that in mind. So they might actually be tempted by that, and I don't know. I can't see Spider-Man selling out all of those IMAXs in the way that the Odyssey sold out all the IMAXs.
Yeah, it's a very interesting time coming, because there's a lot of MC news happening now, and of course the big film in December. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. And speaking of which, MC news, we've got the movie news coming up next.
Meet me in the foyer.
So let's move on to the movie news now. And in the movie news, it's Tom Holland again, because he's confirmed that once the Brand New Day press tour is over, he'll be working on his next project, which, whilst he'll have Spider-Man and the Odyssey in cinemas, making millions upon millions, he's going to be looking at making his long-planned Fred Astaire biopic.
Oh, brilliant.
He's going to be working... I mean, the guy can dance.
Yeah, he's a good dancer,
So he'll be working with Wonka and Paddington director Paul King, and the film is set to follow the story of Fred and Adele Astaire, his sister, who began as a vaudeville act and then parted ways as he went on to become one of the world's biggest stars. So,
I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Cannot wait. It's like right down my alley. You know me and old Hollywood stuff, musicals, and like if I could watch films like that every week, and I think that's going to do really well. Who's the director?
Paul King.
Oh, Paul King's doing it. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. So as you requested, Tom is now stretching his legs figuratively and literally in a new role and a new direction.
Good for Tom. Carry on, Tom.
And talking of Toms, we connect to the next story because Tom Cruise is set to reboot another of his former film roles by once again becoming Cole Trickle. Do you know who Cole Trickle is, Linda? Can you recall?
Is it the Days of Thunder?
Correct. 10 points to Linda there. He's now
I'm the Tom Cruise specialist here.
Oh. I just had a thought, but I'm not going to follow that thought up because I might get Linda in trouble.
Go on.
No, 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 no. I absolutely won't say it on tape. I'll say it after the show.
Oh.
So now confirmed, Days of Thunder 2 will be coming. It's going to be directed by Longshot and Warm Bodies director Jonathan Levine, and is set to be a direct sequel to the original from 36 years ago. And shooting is set to begin next year. But will Nicole Kidman, former love interest of the first film and former wife of Tom, be in it? I doubt it.
Was Nicole Kidman in it? Wasn't it?
It was definitely Kidman.
Was it Nicole Kidman?
Yeah.
You have a quick look.
She played his doctor.
Oh yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
God, I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't think I've seen it since it was released. But yeah.
They had this sort of brief period where they worked together quite a bit, didn't they? Because they did Far and Away together as well, didn't they? And something else. None of them absolutely great films, but lots of fun.
I'm sorry for him. Like
because of the old the marriage.
Yeah, because he's kind of a lonely guy, really, if you think about it. You know.
That's right. He was being linked with Anna de Armas last year, wasn't he? But that seems
that's gone.
Yeah.
Too young for him,
I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's fine. But yes, back to the movie news, and it's more MCU news as Ryan Coogler's next film and follow-up to I'm going to annoy Linda now. What I felt was a slightly overrated Sinners will be Black Panther 3, starring British actor David Johnson.
I have interviewed David Johnson a few times. He knows me by name, and I really love him. He's a really lovely guy, and it couldn't have gone to a better person. He's absolutely brilliant at everything he does. I'm really interested to see, because Chadwick Boseman was also a very understated kind of actor. He was really, he came alive when he sort of donned the costume of T'Challa. And I feel like David Johnson is the same kind of person. He's a very, very quiet. I mean, apart from we saw him in the long walk, and he really came into his own and that character. But before that, he really did play loads of sort of really characters that are really downbeat kind of thing. And he's someone who manages to impress by not doing too much.
Yes.
And I think that's what this character really needed. And I just not like that. He's not my friend or anything, but I know him. So I was just so proud of him. I'm just so proud to see him take on the role. Just so happy for him.
Yeah, it's very impressive. I mean, I was hugely impressed with him in Alien Romulus, and of course he was in Waste Man last year as well. Strength to strength.
Industry. He was in Industry. He was in Rye Lane. Fabulous actor. Really, really good.
Possibly a bit of a slap in the face for Letitia Wright, who took on the mantle of the Black Panther in the second film, and maybe they've decided that it has to be a man.
Well, it is a male character. I see. Yeah. I mean, she hasn't done herself like a lot of favors, because she has some very weird views on certain things. That's really what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not gonna.
Feels like I'll be taking a deep Google after the show.
Do take a deep Google. She's to the point. I mean, during it's not my job to be what's the word, gossiping about people's views, but hey.
Fair enough. But all of that aside, you've got a long wait for this one anyway, because that's set to be released in December of 2028. So way off in the future. But more MC news again. This time, Ryan Gosling has been revealed as the new Ghost Rider at the recent Comic-Con. He's going to be working again with his upcoming Star Wars Starfighter director Sean Levy, and he's taking over the role, of course, from Nick Cage, who made two Ghost Rider films outside the MCU, much like the early Spider-Man films, and that also is going to get released in 2028.
I absolutely hated those movies. I just thought it was just a big kind of like look at me role for Nicolas Cage, and he was completely miscast. Like not, I understand his wish to be to inhabit those kind of characters. I really like what they did with like Spider Noir, for example, like the sort of the Amazon series. I thought that was so well done because they worked it into the story that he was an older Spider-Man kind of character, and it is all sort of set like a 1940s kind of style, 40s, 50s, and it's more of like a hard-boiled character, I really liked that. What I didn't like about what did I say?
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. What I didn't like is that he played him very straight and kind of like really full of his self-importance. And I thought Eva Mendes played his love interest, if I remember well.
I've not seen them. I've never
Eva
watched the Ghost
Mendes,
Rider film.
who is a good, I'd say about a good 20 years younger than him. She's now married to Ryan Gosling. So
Interesting.
I'm just going to double check if Eva Mendes definitely was in that before I embarrass myself. I'm pretty sure it was her. Eva Mendes.
But I agree. I really enjoyed the Spider Noir series. I must admit, that was excellent.
Eva Mendes plays the love interest in Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage, completely not age appropriate. I'm not like I don't usually have an issue with casting, but when it's really obvious that one actor is it's so much older than the other, and it's quite funny that he is now that Ryan Gosling is now new Ghost Rider. I wonder what
weird coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Small world. In other news, or not news, depends how you look at it. It seems the writers of Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves have been paid to write a sequel to the 2023 action-adventure film, which was a reasonable critical and commercial success, although
really
not a
good
global
movie.
smash. Oh, yeah, really enjoyed it, I have to admit. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Sadly, those are expensive films to make, and apparently no one is prepared to stump up the cash. So at the moment, that script is just dwelling in a dungeon along with the dragons, and
that is so sad.
Yeah,
that
so
is
no
so sad.
sign of that.
It absolutely makes no sense to me that those movies didn't do well.
Yeah, very strange.
It's so
Very
bizarre.
But yes, maybe we'll see it one day, but no sign of that soon. What else? Aardman are returning with their second creature feature horror-inspired animation after 2005's Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, as Shaun the Sheep returns this September with the seemingly Scooby-Doo, Goosebumps and Ghostbusters inspired The Beast of Mossy Bottom. And that movie will be out in the autumn. So no, you can't knock Aardman at all. They never get it wrong. I'm sure that'll be great. And star of surely the film success, if not the film of the year, surely the film success of the year, Obsession, Michael Johnston is set to appear alongside Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz in the Mummy Legacy sequel. That's set to be a direct sequel to The Mummy Returns, and is also set to shoot late this year in London and Morocco with a release date of October 2027.
Let's hope they decide to actually put some Egyptian characters and actors in there.
Would be nice, wouldn't it?
I know that the Mummy movie, the horror movie, the James Wan, is it James Wan? And
No.
From earlier this year. What was it called?
Yeah.
At least they got. I mean, I know it didn't do terribly well. I thought it was a really good movie, to be honest with you. I think what I really liked about that movie is that they really did their homework, and they did cast quite a few local actors,
Yes,
uh,
that's true.
the Middle Eastern actors to play Middle Eastern characters, and you have to respect that. I think if the Mummy legacy doesn't do that, then there's a problem.
Yes. Lee Cronin, I just Googled.
Nick Cronin, yeah, but the James Wan is the producer, isn't he?
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Yes, he was. Well done. Another 10 points to Linda. Congratulations. And in our final piece of news this week, Taika Waititi is set to return with his first film since 2023's Next Goal Wins, and apparently it's a more serious affair than a lot of his recent work. The film is called Clara and the Sun, based on Kazu Isiguru's novel about a robot girl called Clara who befriends a child called Josie in a dystopian future. It'll star Jenna Ortega in the title role with Amy Adams and Steve Buscemi in support, and that's out in cinemas in October.
I have a lot to say about this. I am a huge Kazuo Ishiguro fan. Clara and the Sun is probably my favorite book of his.
Wow.
I bought it on its day of release because I am that much of an Ishiguro fan, and it's a story that broke my heart. Like literally at the end, when I finished reading it, I was literally in tears because it's such a beautiful story. It reminded me so much of AI, artificial intelligence. It's about this kind of robot thing, this synthetic person that doesn't really know that they are synthetic and who keeps on living despite not having, not being owned. Just such a beautiful story. Please, like honestly, if you haven't read it, I don't know how much reading you're going to be doing on your holidays, but pick that up. When I heard it was Taika Waititi directing this, I was absolutely heartbroken because I don't feel like he's going to get the tone right. I am really worried. I haven't seen. I don't even know if there've been any trailers. As I said, I don't watch trailers. So
I did see a tiny trailer on a couple of weeks ago.
Worried. I am so worried. I'm so worried about it. Like disappointing. I just feel it needed someone who is a little more someone who I trust more with dealing with dark stories, dark ideas. I feel like Taika has to make fun of everything, and I don't want that story to be made fun of. I want it to be told seriously. It's just such a gorgeous book.
Oh, well, I'm fascinated to see what you think of it when it does come out in the autumn later this year. As I say, my only take, not knowing anything about it from the trailer, was it seemed like Ortega giving the same performance I've seen her give about half a dozen times already. But we shall see. Good cast otherwise. And is Taika Waititi a fluke? Was Search for the Wilder People just a one-off?
Like Jojo Rabbit.
Yes,
I like Jojo Rabbit. I know loads of people didn't like it, and I understand why. But again, he's someone who's really at home in comedy, in sort of like subtle comedy, not even subtle, like out there comedy.
Yeah.
I feel like Ishiguro is also a really good screenwriter. I feel like if Ishiguro was the one who picked him to direct, then I will allow that and hope that they've worked together to do this movie. I'm just worried that it's not going to be the movie I want it to be. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I've kind of lost patience with Taika after I've loved his first Thor film, but his second one not so much, and his Time Bandit series was absolutely dreadful. So
terrible.
Yeah. Well, and that is the conclusion of our movie news for this week.
Meet me in the foyer.
Right, it's time for another of Jawa's classic movie moments, and this week I'm taking a look at a film that's celebrating its 45th anniversary, a film from a man who, to my mind, must surely be the greatest Australian director of all time, even with the competition of George Miller, Baz Luhrmann and Jane Campion. Having brought us Picnic at Hanging Rock, The Last Wave, The Year of Living Dangerously, the previously reviewed Witness and the masterful Dead Poets Society, The Truman Show, and the criminally underrated Master and Commander, plus his last film, The Way Back, he directed and released this, perhaps now slightly overlooked gem in 1981. So come with me as we travel to Gallipoli.
Oh, nice.
From a place you never heard of comes a story you'll never forget. Gallipoli.
Gallipoli is a 1981 Australian war drama directed by Peter Weir. It revolves around several young men from Western Australia who enlist in the Australian Army during the Great War, as it's properly known, or World War One. They were sent to Gallipoli Peninsula in the Ottoman Empire, modern-day Turkey, where they take part in the Gallipoli campaign. During the course of the film, the young men slowly lose their innocence about the purpose of war. The climax of the film occurs on the Anzac battlefield at Gallipoli, depicting the futile attack of the Battle of the Neck on 7th of August 1915. So it had a budget of 2.6 million and was a faithful portrayal of life in Australia in the 1910s, reminiscent of the previously mentioned Peter Weir film 1975's Picnic at Hanging Rock, which was set in 1900. And it captures the ideals and character of Australians who joined up to fight, as well as the conditions they endured on the battlefield, although its portrayal of British forces have been criticised as inaccurate. It received heavy international promotion and distribution and helped to elevate the worldwide reputation of Australian film and later of Australian New Wave films. The film also helped to launch the international career of actor Mel Gibson. So,
what a shame.
I mean, what I really think the shame is he was so good. He was so good in Mad Max 1 and 2 and Gallipoli and The Year of Living Dangerously. Such a wonderful actor, and it's all gone so wrong. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, religion is brain rot. Sorry if you're religious people, but brain rot.
I think there's a few other things rotting his brain as well, but yeah. So it's Western Australia in May of 1915. Archie Hamilton, an 18-year-old stockman, or what do you call it, like a cattle herder, is a prize-winning sprinter, and he longs to enlist in the Australian Imperial Force. He is trained by his uncle Jack and idolises Harry Lascelles, the world champion over 100 yards. Archie wins a race with a bullying farmhand, Les McCann, with Archie running barefoot and Les riding his horse bareback back to the farm. Frank Dunn, in the meantime, is an unemployed ex-railway labourer who's run out of money. He is an accomplished sprinter and hopes to win the prize money at an athletics carnival. He also bets a lot of money on himself winning. Archie and Uncle Jack journey to the athletics carnival. Frank is surprised when Archie defeats him and is bitter at first and feels robbed of his bet. Eventually, Frank approaches Archie in a cafe after getting over his loss, and Archie gives him all of his prize money he won at the race and tells him that he'll not be coming back home, for he's decided to enlist. They both decide to travel to Perth and enlist there. So it's a largely unknown cast outside of Australia. So its main actors are Mark Lee as Archie Hamilton, Mel Gibson as Frank Dunn, and Bill Kerr, former sort of cohort of Hancock's Half Hour, as Jack. And as I say, it's a theme. It's a film whose themes are loss of innocence, coming of age in the Australian soldiers and the country itself. There's a scene in the beginning where Uncle Jack, played by Bill Kerr, is sat reading Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book, about how Mowgli has reached his manhood, and he's reading that to the other children on the farm, and Mowgli has to leave his family of wolves, actually in that case, and become a man. And Gibson said that Gallipoli was about the birth of a nation, a shattering of the dream of Australia, that they banded together to fight the Hun and died by their thousands in a dirty little trench war. And it examines Gallipoli's legacy, which is one of the most sort of controversial moments in either of the two world wars. It said that Gallipoli, the soldiers headed to war because it was expected of them, and Australia headed to war because, as part of the British Empire, it was expected of the nation. Peter Weir had wanted to make a film about Gallipoli since visiting in 1976, and he discovered an empty Eno bottle from the war on the beach. Then in 1980, Rupert Murdoch and Robert Stigwood announced they were forming a film company called R&R Films, later known as Associated R&R Films. It was a joint venture between News Corporation and the Robert Stigwood organisation. They pledged an investment total of 10 million, and Gallipoli was going to be the first film they made, but they ended up not producing any other films. One can only surmise what was going on there with rather shady businessman Rupert Murdoch. And they agreed to fund the film for $3 million, and it was finally filmed for 2.8. And that was the highest budget of an Australian film to date. And in fact, Murdoch's father, Keith Murdoch, had been a journalist during World War One, and after he visited Gallipoli in 1915, became an influential agitator against the conduct of the campaign by the British High Command, which is interesting because the controversy around this film is that it represents the British as driving the Australians to their deaths on this futile assault, and all for the sake of British troops landing on a different beach, and so the Australian troops are creating a distraction, which is in reality not true.
Well, I mean, like, have they never heard of the Somme, where so many young British Englishmen, 15, 16, 17-year-olds were sent to their death? It's more to do with the stupidity of the generals and the, of the people who lead it. It's not, I don't think it's to do with whether they were Australian or not, which it's just the horrors of war.
Absolutely agree. Yes, because there was another quote from Gibson saying how it sort of portrayed the treatment of the Australians by their imperial overlords. But as you say, all of the troops were suffering the same terrible fates, regardless of nation. And in reality, it wasn't a distraction for British troops landing. It was, in fact, a distraction for New Zealand troops landing. And the officers driving the Australians over the top were, in fact, Australian officers. I think people got confused because the officers you see in the film aren't actually British. They're Australians with upper middle class accents, so they sound British. And it's not clear what side the film is taking on that, but the reality, regardless of what the film said, is the British weren't involved. But yes, it was primarily filmed in South Australia and location in Egypt. The locations are stunning. You're sort of almost rivaling at it doesn't. Very few films could rival, but there are moments where you start to think of Lawrence of Arabia. The backdrop's so gorgeous. There's a farewell ball scene in the film about halfway before the boys head off to war, when they're stationed in Egypt. And that was actually a last-minute inclusion by Peter Weir, which added 60,000 to the budget. But it's so worth adding because it's gorgeous to look at, and it really, really drives home the sort of strange euphoria of the men and the people there, the civilians there, who are sort of euphoric about this great adventure they're all heading off on, and how heroic it is, and what a wonderful time to be alive, and what a wonderful cause. And it's all a complete sort of naive misconstruing of the reality, that it's not a glorious adventure. Yeah, it is so tragic.
It was the same here. So many young men were sent to their deaths thinking, we're doing this for king and country, and or queen and country, or whatever. It was a king then, I think. And in the end, it was just all a sort of hubris of of people who didn't know the art of war, who were happy enough to send all these young men to their deaths just because they didn't really know how to deal with what was happening with the Germans. It's just a very sad. This is what like the whole sort of anti-war movement and the peace movement all came from the First World War. That's where people, especially in the UK, it's where people just saw this as the silliness of war. Really, this is stupidity of war.
Absolutely, because although millions would die in the Second World War as well, the difference was that in the Second World War, they attempted to use machines rather than men where they could. So you would have planes, and you would have tanks, and you would have artillery. And in the First World War, they didn't have that. So although the Turks had some machine guns or Gatling guns, it would be men that would have to do all the work and all the fighting. And so you're just losing thousands of men every day, just pouring into gunfire. Just absolutely ludicrous, sort of completely antiquated, and as you say, just incompetent leadership. Just an absolute waste. Something that even a sitcom like Blackadder can really bring home. The horror of it. Yeah, one of the best things ever made, Blackadder, the 4th season. The soundtrack is interesting. It starts with a heartbreaking piece of classical music, which is the Adagio in G minor by Tommaso Albinoni, which is a really, as I say, a heartbreakingly tragic piece of music, which bookends the film. The score is written by Brian May, but not that Brian May. It's an Australian composer called Brian May. And then, interestingly and incongruously, the music when they run, because these boys are sprinters, is Oxygen by French music composer Jean-Michel Jarre. And it just shouldn't work. But kind of, I mean, this film came out the same year as Chariots of Fire, which has Vangelis doing the soundtrack. And again, it's a sort of ambient synth-driven music, and something about the rhythms and the music is sort of melancholy, but also hopeful and spiritual. It just works. It's really interesting.
It's really beautifully anachronistic. It's really nice sort of to have those kind of like really modern noises.
Yes.
Like in the middle of a story that took place, 100 years ago, almost,
Yeah, absolutely. It's so strange. 110 years ago now. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, but when it was made, it
was
yes,
you're quite right. Yeah. It's got a 91% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, quite rightly. Critics have said Peter Weir's devastating anti-war film features a low-key but emotionally wrenching performance from Mel Gibson as a young soldier fighting in one of the First World War's most deadly and horrifying battles. And 40 years on, the film is still well regarded by Australian critics, with Luke Buckmaster describing it as one of the best loved and most quintessentially Australian films, irrespective of the generally positive critical reception. The historical accuracy of the film still provokes some debate by commentators. It was a domestic success. It grossed just under 12 million Australian dollars at the Australian box office. And although widely acclaimed internationally, its box office success outside Australia was modest. It earned 5.7 million in the US, where it was distributed in art house cinemas, and in France, the film only attracted 39,000 viewers. But word has spread, and I think anyone who's seen it and knows of it, regards it very highly. At the Australian Film Institute Awards, it sort of swept the board, winning Best Film, Best Direction, Best Screenplay, Best Actor for Gibson, Best Supporting Actor for Bill Hunter, Best Cinematography, Best Editing, and Best Sound. So it absolutely took the lot that year at the Australian Awards. We've covered the historical accuracy, so I won't go back over that. So I mean, I don't remember when I first saw the film, but I think I've mentioned before in the Crocodile Dundee review I did that there was just this period in the 80s where Australia just sort of appeared on the cultural map, and you got films like Crocodile Dundee and
Neighbours,
and then TV, you have Neighbours and Home and Away and Flying Doctors, and it was just everywhere, Australia, and everyone was just, I think everyone, I certainly was, just sort of falling in love with this strange, mythical, magical country where it's untamed. It's like the Wild West frontier almost, but without the sort of roguish whiskey drinking cowboys, although it's got some fairly untamed characters as well. And the locations, the views are just breathtaking, and miles of empty sort of red sandy desert, and a beautiful blue sky again for thousands and thousands of miles. Just a completely sort of enrapturing place. Just really, really staggering country that I fell in love with and would love to visit one day. And this film takes you back 100 years, as we said, but one suspects a lot hasn't changed in the outback, although obviously there's more to Australia than the outback. It now has many metropolises, which are the rival of any city around the world. But yeah, no, a staggering country, and this captures it and captures the period, I think, really beautifully, really authentically. You really feel like you're back there at the start of the 20th century, and these men are being swept up in the propaganda being churned out to drive them to want to go to war, as I said before, to think it's a sort of noble, heroic task and adventure, particularly Archie, who thinks it is this great adventure that's going to make him a man and a hero. Gibson's character, Dunn, is more of just a hustler who's got nothing else better to do, so he goes, but then he gets swept up in it as well because his other friends are there, and they all meet up in Egypt, and they're playing Australian rules football by the pyramids, and they're touring the shops, and you just get this real sense of comradeship, and they're singing songs and having a wonderful time, and then before you know it, they're on a boat over to Gallipoli, and they realize what a terrible mistake they've made, and they've been lied to, and yeah, it's just a complete waste. And the fact that it makes you fall in love with them and their naivete and their hope, and then at the end it's all dashed, because you can't help but, because it's a film, you can't help but think it's going to turn out all right, and it spoilers, it doesn't turn out all right. It ends tragically and absolutely heartbreakingly, and it's beautifully bookended because the film starts with, it opens out in the southwestern Australia, Red Sands, with Archie being trained by his uncle, and his uncle blows a whistle and Archie sprints down the track, and it ends the same way, with the general blowing his whistle and the men leaping out of the trenches and sprinting into eternity, really. And no, it's a absolutely mind-blowing film. Really impossible to forget.
Yeah, you say you don't remember when you first saw it. I personally think it's one of those movies that, like, Boxing Day movies, isn't it? Like the same as The Great Escape.
Oh yes, yeah.
Great Escape and all those movies. All those Great Escape, there's a lot of sort of humor in it. But those kind of like big movies of the was this 80s?
Yes,
movies
80,
of the
81,
80s,
yeah.
That felt like they were telling history in a kind of fun way, but obviously this wasn't fun. But hey.
No, yeah, I mean, this is much more straight ahead drama, but there are still some great fun moments in it. But as I say, a heartbreaking but brilliant film, one of the best World War One films. A film that, as I said, started my romance with Australia. It's I think for those of us who grew up in the 80s and through the 90s, it reinforced our love of Australia, and it has to be one of Peter Weir's best. And he's got some great films on his resume, so I highly recommend you search out Gallipoli if you haven't seen it, and if you have seen it, go watch it again.
Also, go see Master and Commander. One
Yes. Oh, what a
great
film!
movies ever made. Beautiful film.
That's a tragedy in itself.
Yeah, not enough people have seen Master and Commander, which is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion.
I totally agree. I'm heartbroken they never made any more of those.
Yeah.
But we can't dwell on that because sadly, that's it for another episode. Thank you for choosing to meet me in the foyer. I hope you feel we've slung some entertainment and enlightenment your way, and you've had a proper bonza time here with us in the foyer. Don't forget you can subscribe to our Patreon account where you'll find all our shows in Director's Cut extended form, plus our special shows, all our reviews you can listen to whenever the mood takes you or your spider sense begins to tingle. The show can be found on Acast, Spotify, YouTube, and live on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. on Rock and Go Radio. So listen, like, subscribe, tell your friends. And now it just remains me to say thank you, Linda, for your wonderful review and company. And until next time, take care. We'll see you again soon, springing into your notifications with another invitation to meet me in the foyer. Bye.
Subscribe now to help fans supporting food banks. Go to patreon.com/Rock and Goal Radio and look for your favourite club subscription pages and sign up with your favourite presenter. Rock and Goal Radio. No adverts, no VAR, no limits.
Meet me in the foyer.
This is a film.
That's another very sad story.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Not too many laughs in this one. Thankfully, Taika Waititi didn't get to direct Gallipoli. So